What's happening, guys? It's your pal Grizz, and this is it! The first episode of Trololoadout, as I'm calling it, and hopefully this will turn into another weekly series here on my channel. But man, I was trying all week to get the boys together to do this, all together, and just so happened that there either weren't enough of us on at the same time, or conflicting schedules, or what have you. But this morning I just decided to take matters into my own hands and just fly solo on this one. So what is Trololoadout, you might ask? Well, I have another weekly series I do here on my channel called Kit Up, and if you're not familiar, it's a weapon review series where you guys send me suggestions for weapons and setups and loadouts and such to run with, and I do a little review on it. So each week you leave me your comments for what you want to see for the next week, and then I'll usually choose the most popular one or the one with the most upvotes and do that one. So this series is going to work exactly the same way, but instead of suggesting me actual good weapons and setups, you'll be suggesting very bad weapons for me to use, or just suggesting some ridiculous challenge like go knife only in a Conquest Large and go positive. So anyway, for the first episode, a lot of people seem to want to see some variation of the FAMASS, so I finally landed on EpicFace 8665's suggestion for the How Do You Even loadout. This consists of the FAMASS, of course, with a 4x scope, flashlight, always on, heavy barrel, and a bipod. Gross! And for the sidearm, I'm using the M320, which is a decent pistol, but I'm running it with the 3x scope and a compensator because that was the only attachments I had. I always want to have everything that you guys ask for, but sometimes it would just take too long to unlock everything. So I hope it's okay if I leave a few out and do this sort of thing from time to time. And the lols don't stop there. For my gadgets, I'm using the 320 with smoke rounds, the little med pack handbags, and the hand flares due to a nice little additional suggestion from Spaz Attack here. For the knife, I had the improvised on, and I forgot to change my camo, but again, I'm sorry, I really have to pay more attention to that kind of stuff. But I was using the chocolate chip camo because it sounds yummy, and the Grenadier perk, which is actually even more trolly than the combat medic perk when you think about it, because I don't have any lethal grenades, so the extra rounds that the Grenadier perk gives me aren't really gonna help me at all. Anyway, that's the kit I was given, and it actually wasn't as bad as I initially thought it was going to be. The clips in this video are from 2 of the 3 games of Team Deathmatch I played using this setup, and they actually went positive in all 3 games that I played, much to my surprise. I figured, I'd be lucky to stay even, but no, I actually found this setup was actually pretty effective when used in a certain way. My mentality going into this was to use it like a shotgun and just try to get close on people so I could just melt them with the hip fire. And that was a pretty good tactic, but then I started actually making good use of the bipod by either proning out and deploying it before firing at enemies who were a bit farther away, and that worked out really well as well. Aiming down sights was definitely the worst possible thing I could do here. I ended up picking up a couple kills just firing ADS and standing, not using the bipod or anything. But the only way I could make that work was if I did extreme tap firing, and you have to give it a half a second in between taps so your aim can reset itself. It's just absolutely ridiculous the amount of recoil the FAMASS has with the heavy barrel and no grip. Couple that with having to use a 4x scope and just no bueno. No bueno. What is muy bueno, though, is the friggin' hip fire. If you kind of play it like a shotgun, like I said, you can actually do pretty well with the FAMASS and a heavy barrel, and no grip, and a 4x scope, and a flashlight. Such a ridiculous setup. But I was literally shredding guys in close that they had almost no chance at all if I was full health. And just think if you actually used an appropriate grip to give you more hipfire accuracy, or maybe shooting on the move accuracy, you could probably do a lot better with this guy. But what else do I really say here? I mean, the M320 is actually pretty great, and I don't even think having the heavy barrel on there would have been much of a deterrent. It might actually have made this thing better by making it more accurate. But I got a couple kills with it in these games, and I usually only ever hip fire my pistols anyway, so the 3x scope doesn't bother me at all. In fact, I'd probably put a 3x scope on every pistol if I had the option, if I'm being completely honest. They're strictly a tool to me, and I just use them to finish guys off that if I have to reload my primary or something like that. But the 320 Smoke rounds are pretty useless. Hand flares are even more useless. And running the Grenadier perk with the smoke and hand flares, also useless. So let's all thank Epic Face for his Trolltacular loadout. But I bet you guys are pretty surprised that I was able to make this thing work, aren't you? Come on, admit it. Old Grizz surprised you, didn't he? Well, I surprised myself at least. I think this last game here on Flood Zone, I actually was like 3rd place on my team with like a 20-9 score. Not too shabby, and the other 2 games were somewhere around there as well, I think. Not quite a 1.5 KD, but pretty close. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to leave me a comment with your shitty loadout for next week, and I'll try to get the rest of the crew in on this next week too, so maybe we can have some live reactions, some live rage. That stuff is always kind of fun. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video and you'd like to leave it some love on your way out, you can do so by clicking that like button down below. Always much appreciated by me. And as always, if you're new around here, consider hitting that subscribe button and join in on the fun. Love to have you. Oh, I almost forgot. I live streamed twice this past weekend, and I just wanted to remind everyone that if you'd like to catch a stream sometime, you should either be following me over there on Twitch, or follow me on Twitter, as it automatically sends out a tweet when I go live. But if you're following me on Twitch, you'll actually get an email when I go live. So those are 2 ways you can be in the know when I am live streaming. And finally, for anyone who cares, the Twin Snakes episodes that were meant for last Sunday were lost. So I gotta do them again, and I'll hopefully put them up next Sunday. Hopefully. Alright guys, I'm out. Doodles.